have are Black American Orthodox Sunni Muslims coming from their American background and evolving as they evolve. We have the large number of immigrant Muslims and their children and grandchildren who have come from the Muslim world post-1965. And then in addition to that, we have any number of white American converts and Hispanic converts, and from various other backgrounds. This is America after all. We have all kinds of backgrounds here, and we get these sort of smatterings of conversions around the edges, as it were. All right? Now, this sort of makes up the body of Islam in America. And I'll just end by saying that the reality of Islam from within the Muslim community, I think, could probably be characterized by two very vibrant, critical conversations that are taking place within the Muslim community. On the one hand, there is this sort of intramural conversation. That is to say, Black American, white American, Hispanic, immigrant Muslims, and by the way, I've done immigrant Muslims in a sense a disservice because, I mean, it makes it sound like they all come almost even from the same village. No, they come from some 70 countries in the Muslim world. And so you have all of that variety now in this new space, trying to sort of figure out what the mode of a standard, dignified American Islamic existence is going to look like. All right? And there's a massive amount of negotiation going on within that community as it attempts to find its new space. It's very interesting that the American Muslim community is perhaps the most diversified community of Muslims in the world. All right? And it now has to negotiate all of that diversity. All right? Second, there is now sort of between the Muslim community and the dominant community in America, what one might want to call a sort of a 9/11 postscript, as it were. Muslims are now in the position of trying to renegotiate their space in American society post 9/11 and the fallout that emerges out of 9/11. I'll just say this, that however that conversation goes, when one looks at the Muslim community, one should sort of see a duck or a swan sort of moving across a pond. On the surface, the duck or the swan appears to be moving quite effortlessly. But if you just could peer down underneath the water, you'll see those feet moving feverishly. And so we have this relationship between the Muslim community and the dominant community, which is visible to everyone, but underneath the surface, there are these intramural conversations that are taking place within the Muslim community. And I think that what we're going to see tonight in our presentations are various and sundry perspectives that represent these different historical trajectories that contribute to what Islam in America has become today. Thank you very much. Maybe I'll stand here too, so nobody thinks that I'm supposed to be speaking anymore. I want to introduce then our first speaker for tonight, Mr. Khidr Naeem. Mr. Naeem is a native of New York City, where he embraced Islam in 1980 through an organization called Dar al-Islam. The Dar al-Islam served a largely African-American Sunni community and represented the largest American congregation in New York at the time. He left New York in 1987 and lived briefly in Central Florida. After earning a bachelor's degree in philosophy from the University of Central Florida in Orlando, he relocated with his family to Ann Arbor, where he has resided since 1990. Mr. Naeem earned his master's degree in educational leadership and counseling from Eastern Michigan University. His career has taken him through 20 years of study, research, teaching, and administration. For the past 7 years, he has taught social studies At Detroit's Henry Ford High School, he has worked in Ann Arbor's Muslim community as a teacher and mentor and as a trustee and executive committee officer of the Muslim Community Association of Ann Arbor. And Mr. Naeem is going to speak with us for 10 minutes. And I've been given strict instructions to be very strict on the time. And as someone who's mostly on that side of the timekeeper, I'm going to take my revenge tonight. Mr. Naeem, please.
Hi. To my brothers and sisters, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I can start in just more or less about who I was and how I came. No, I didn't hate all white people. No, I wasn't I wasn't on drugs. No, I wasn't going to jail. No, no, no. I was a young man who had both parents. I had both parents who, I lived on Amsterdam Avenue. Those of you who are from New York know where that is. Right up the street from the Apollo Theater. Everybody knows where that is. And I started to look at some things. And when I was introduced to Islam, it is tremendously different than a lot of people were in different areas. Some people got it from their parents. And that was okay, but I felt so good when I got it. I feel personal. I'm not going to look to the left because these are my brothers and their fathers and moms are my brothers and sisters. I felt like I got mine like the Prophet got his. I felt so good about this. We was outside. Yeah, we knew about drugs, and we saw this, and we saw all this craziness. And I saw this guy, and I worked at RCA Global, and I saw this guy, and we would talk all the time. And he would tell me, hey, hold on for a second. I got to do something Friday. We would talk every day. And I asked him, what do you do Friday? He says, I go pay homage to my Lord. I was like, gosh, man, that was a lot to say. Just say you go to pray. You go pay homage to your Lord. Are you Shakespeare? So he went, and I said, you know what? Yeah, that's all right. My mother wanted me to be a minister, so I'll go with you. So one Friday I went. You know where I went? Twin Towers. I went to the Twin Towers. We walked in. They were calling the adhan, call to prayer. And I said, what's up? What's that? He said, it's the call to prayer. I said, don't say it like I've been here. This is my first time. What is it? So I heard, and I said, wow. So we're talking, and there were things that changed me as an individual. The things that we focused on was, stop lying. Be kind to your mother and your father. Be kind to older women. Oh, my God. That one beat me half to death. Because I'm a little smaller now, but at that time, you took Shahada, the Declaration of Islam, and you come in, any old woman, and I'm telling you, we swore that they sent notices out. And when I say any, Asian, Malaysian, Puerto Rican, Cuban, black, Chinese, anybody, they would say, they'd have a bag. You, come here. Come carry this bag for me over there. And this was some of the things that helped us inside. We would talk. We wouldn't have these nice words like positive. Your behavior showed it. We were a de facto people. We were clean. We read like anything because you know we was looking for pork. We read all over. And I found out in 1986 that they used to spray lard in Pepsi cans to preserve the flavor. That's why it don't taste as good as it used to. Okay? Yeah, don't do that to me. So we were better people. I remember the first week that I was Muslim, there was a priest trying to talk to some guys down in the Bowery. And the guy that was with me said, look, they're trying to set up the father. So we went down there, and I'm new. Hey, father, how you doing? I like the thing. That's nice. And so we talked to the guys and say, why aren't you doing something a little kinder to the guy? He's trying to help you. He's trying to get you in touch with God. And they uttered the usual profanities. And I said to the guy who told me about Islam, I said, why don't you walk them over here so I can talk to them, okay? And started to look at what I was representing and who I was. And the who I was important to me. The who I am became important to me. And that relationship and my thankfulness to the one and only God became a love affair. And everybody remembers their first love. Y'all know my wife, so those of you who do, I fell in love. And I fell in love because I couldn't believe I was a better person. Pause with that. I couldn't, and everybody remember, like I said, your first love, you don't know. I'm not talking about when you have kids and you have your grandkids and you know that love come out of nowhere for your grandkids. It does. You just sit there, you go, he's cute, oh my God. And then you just jacked up because, you know, he your grandkids. But that love for you, I never saw Allah. I never saw the Prophet. But this thing here, this was the dance. This was the bounce for all of us. And I was holding on to this. And this is why I say to my brothers and sisters who, their parents were dedicated. Their parents, look at them, look at them. Their parents were dedicated. But I got mine like the Prophet got his. I'm sick with this. Okay? And so when I had that, because here it comes, because it's going to get stupid in a minute. When I had this, it was being better. It was being better daily. It was a better me every day. You know, this Windsor had to be tight. The suit every day, God said, this is who I had to be. I had to prepare myself to be a better father. And I have 5 children. I had to be a better friend. I had to be a better husband. And I kept doing that. And that was where my Islam was until I started to move out. And then I started to see that there were grabs. Okay, you now have to pick a gang. You now have to pick some other things. You now have to put certain things in perspective. And once you start to do that, you start to see and feel the world as it is. The love is still there. And we all love who we love, but there's some expenses to that. And so I stayed. And I kept going, and I kept pushing myself. And I pushed myself to the point where it's a good day when I still keep this here in my heart. And I'm not going to run you down the street and go here, be a Muslim or whatever. But I'm telling you, you don't have to worry about anything with me, with my children, with my soul. Because this thing here, for us, this thing here is a worship thing. It's a God community thing. Don't let anybody fool you. Close your eyes and touch your soul. You'll know what I'm saying is true. You want to be good just so you can get to heaven. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. Our next speaker is Mr. Khidr Blauvelt. Chris was born in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. He grew up in New Jersey and Massachusetts. He graduated from the University of Michigan in 2006 with a degree in engineering, and later went on to earn an MA in educational management, was it?
Administration.
Administration. In 2007. Currently, he is the executive producer for Beyond Blue Productions, which is based in Detroit. He embraced Islam at the age of 16 while in Massachusetts. Khidr Blauvelt.
Thank you. In the name of God, the most gracious and most merciful. Can everyone hear me okay? So, it's unfortunate I have to follow this up because I don't think I can top this. You can just pass on the 2-minute mark right now.
Right now.
So I guess I'll share my story. I grew up in, as a WASP, a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, in New England, and we would go to Presbyterian church, but kind of only around the holidays, Christmas, Easter, so on and so forth. And when I was about